Hello, everybody. Welcome. Appreciate everyone there. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing
Hey,
pretty good. I got off work early, so that's always nice.
Off work early is nice.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm
Well, I
busy
mean, it's a
and I'm
swap. I'm
tired.
just making it.
It's been a long weekend. My kids Sunday morning decided to wake up at like 2:30 in the morning
Ugh.
and then didn't take a nap. And then I couldn't sleep last night. I slept for like 3 hours and then I was up for like five. Then I slept for like another two on and off. And it's just everybody at work
Yeah.
today was like, "You look like you drank a lot last night." And I was like, "No, I haven't
No,
slept good in like the last two nights."
I get that.
Lack of sleep, drinking a lot. They look very
They
similar.
look the same and they act the same. Yeah. That's why I'm gonna have you do a lot of the talking tonight, BC, because I've been up. I probably had about an hour of sleep. That's about it. Otherwise, I've been up since yesterday.
Pulling a Jesse, huh?
Yeah, I know. Like I said, anybody wants to hashtag CCM needs sleep, big time, and I think that's what's going to happen after we're done with this stream. We got a special guest tonight, but before we get to him, let's give a quick shout out to the chat. Well, looky who's here. Shuby is in the chat. Appreciate Shuby buckets for those who are channel members. Shuby buckets in the chat. Let's see who else we got here. Yeah, I told everybody we'll be back. We'll be live momentarily because we're running a little behind the eight ball, and he's okay. He's just sitting here drinking by himself. I love it, man. I love it. Automatic Beats is in the house. Appreciate Automatic Beats. He was around this morning when I was live, and now here. And what Automatic? Oh, you slept good. Well, there you go, man. There you go. I didn't take any of that extra stuff to help me sleep. Maybe tonight. Little ibuprofen's all I need because I don't take any kind of anything. So I take ibuprofen. That about does it. But there we go. Anyway, Luigi is in the house. There you go. What's your hand cash? I will send you Bitcoin live on air. I know nothing about that.
Well, he said he'd send you. Originally, it said he'd send you a butt coin live on it.
Yeah, I know. I and then he obviously corrected that there. But, and yes, Soltis. That's funny. I said that this morning, BC. Right after, of course, Automatic Beat said this.
Well, you can't mine Solana, so sold to zero. I'm
There
sure
you
our
go.
guests would agree with that.
There you go.
I mean, I already made some good money on Solana last year. I wish I
Yeah.
would have held it, but you know what?
For what? It's kind of played out. I mean, it might get back up to its all-time highs, but whatever.
Yeah, might. Yeah,
I mean,
if they get their
I made my money on Solana before all the meme coins became popular on Solana. And then I was like, all the meme coins, and I made a little bit of money on there. And I'm like, I'm not sure about this project anymore. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, I guess haters gonna hate. Yeah, but it is what it is. Facts are what they are. Solana can't run. But that's a whole nother story. Not what we're here for tonight. Tonight we're here to talk about some mining. So BC, let's get our guest here on the stage. Why don't you give him a quick intro and we'll bring him on up.
Well, it's a man that, if you're familiar with the Piper Academy, needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. It's the man, the myth, the crayon eater, Buck. And if you know a little bit about the Piper Academy, you've seen him all around. So, how you doing tonight, Buck?
I'm having a great day, fellas. What about you guys?
Oh,
Thanks for being here tonight.
I complain, but I'm sure people would rather hear me ask you some questions about mining Bitcoin instead. So,
Gotcha.
We also have a miner of our own. He's a home miner. He does not have any extravagant rigs like you got, but he likes to dabble in in the mining, and he likes to complain about energy costs. So I'm sure y'all have a giant conversation on that one.
Well, I'm just a home miner. I have like 35 GPUs. Granted, some of them are like 4 gig cards, which I feel are irrelevant now, even on like Raven. So, but I don't know. I switched over to Salad AI, salad.com, like 2 weeks ago with one 3070, and I was okay. You know, $1 a quarter a day, $1.30 a day profit after electric. So I fired up another rig. That got going. I was making a little over $3 a day, which is, it's not much to talk about. It's not anything to brag about. But I was like, oh, let me like combine these rigs. Let me take the RAM out of this motherboard onto this one, double the RAM. Let me try to hard drive. Thinking, I could make like not a video or not a show, a video, like a YouTube video about this, like this trial and error. But for the last week, I took everything back to the way it was, and for the last week, nada. So I'm like, well, I guess maybe there goes that idea. I don't know, but.
So what got you wanting to do the GPUs at home? Just because that was the fastest way for you to scale up, or what?
Well, I mean, I started back in late 2019. I bought my first GPU 4 gig rig with a 580 on it for like, it was like $1,000, making like $8 to $10 a day. And then, the bull run hit and I was making more, and I built another rig and was just buying 580s right off the store shelf, as many as I could find.
What's your power when you were at?
12 cents a kilowatt.
Ooh.
Well, that's right now. I mean, back then, I want to say it was like 6 or 7. Oh, hold on. The mail lady's here.
Okay, well, now we'll talk with the guest. Okay.
There goes that one. Well,
did he go squirrel?
Yeah. Yep. I guess you gotta go chase him down like a puppy, Well, there's the mail person. Let's go get him. But I know CCM had a question, and I'm sure a lot of people on here would love to know how you got into mining. Was it an event where you were like, well, screw buying the Bitcoin, let me make my own Bitcoin, or did you just stumble across it?
So originally, the first time I looked at mining was way back when. Somebody explained it to me. I first got introduced to Bitcoin. I was 2010 time period, 2009 time period. I was buying Bitcoin and then paying people with Bitcoin to create bots for me. And I honestly just thought like Bitcoin was for paying shady people and buying drugs. Because at the time I could buy like whatever dope you wanted at the Silk Road, and you could pay shady people to do things for you. And then it didn't make sense to me, because if it's a public blockchain, like wouldn't all of those purchases then like at any given time be available? So like that kind of didn't make sense. But I was like, all right, whatever. I thought it was just shady people and drugs. I didn't think it was like something relevant that I really wanted to play with, but I had to play in that game because I was paying people with Bitcoin. So I purchased a Bitcoin for somebody, then sent it across, and there you go. Now, fast forward, as soon as I saw ETFs getting ready to come online and actual like real money come online, that's when the light went off for me. And I was like, oh, well, like this is real money, and it's not just a bunch of nerds and people buying dope. So like, this is doable, right? Like we can play this game. I started looking at different mining, how I could do it, what I could do. And the first initial thought was, how do I convert solar panel power to mining? Because like the houses we had with solar panels on them, they changed the rules. They changed the rules in Texas. They changed the rules in Florida. Florida was the biggest sack. Like those people are gangster, man. Like they came in and said, oh, everybody should do this. And here's all of your stuff that you're going to get paid back for all this solar. And it's going to be so great. And everybody built their solar systems based on what these rebates were and like what you were going to do and how you were going to make money. And then about 2 years ago, the state of Florida went, yeah, by the way, we're only going to give you like 2 cents on the dollar now. So like that rate you were getting and all those numbers you came up with to develop these systems, like they're all trash now. And so I was like, well, that's BS. And then they did the same thing in San Antonio. They were like, hey, we're going to cut your rates of what we're getting you back. And it was like, it's almost like you saw that they went out and said, everybody should do this. And here's all of your rebates. And this is what you're going to do. And then as soon as they had everybody locked in, they're like, yeah, I'm just kidding. We're not actually going to give you guys the money the way you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Weird. The government promises something and they don't fulfill their promise. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. So that may be a little grumpy, and I don't like people two-facing stuff. And so I was like, all right, how do we convert this power on the houses into Bitcoin mining power or crypto mining power? And then I started playing with the IoT sensors and the IoT miners and more Bitcoin miners. And I very quickly came to understand that Bitcoin mining at home, unless you've got some crazy deal on your power, you're not going to make money, and it's not scalable. Because if you're running, even if you're running an old S19, like an S19J Pro or an S19K Pro or whatever, you're going to pull like, what is that, 15 amps or something like that, or 12 amps per machine. So if you look at the load on your panel box, like the best you're going to get out of a house is a 400 amp breaker. That's if you go back and get a heavy load by saying you're doing all these things like electric water heater, tankless water heaters, and all this other BS, right? And that's just to get the load capability. Well, then you're still going to need to utilize like 75, probably 50% of that load to run your house on a regular basis. So that means you're only playing with like maybe 200 amps of power. And real fast, it was real understandable that like to make money, you have to have a large power load. And you have to be able to get a ton of power as cheap as you can possibly get power. So then the gears in my head changed, and I went, oh, okay. So this is commercial industrial power. So let's go to all the guys that we used to build sites with, construction. I was in the construction business for quite a while, and just find out who's got buildings, who's got projects on the ground, and then look for guys who had projects on the ground that maybe weren't utilizing the power because maybe they were messed up, right? Like their project didn't go through or whatever that thing was, right? And how do you utilize that power? And then that quickly became like, yeah, that totally works. The neighbor's socket. So,
They're like, hey, why did my electric bill go to $3,000 this month?
But there's people that do that, even in the school districts. Like I met a guy that was putting Bitcoin miners in school districts because he was like, nobody knows what it is, and I'm just going to run off this power. And I'm like, bro, at some point you're going to get caught. Like it was mined and it was there. Like somehow that's going to come back and bite you in the ass, and you're all going to get screwed. And like, that's bad juju, right? Like, but you can do all kinds of things, but the goal is to figure out a way to make a scalable business that requires the least amount of employees possible, because I'll be damned if I ever have another business with a bunch of employees. It is a nightmare. Like you got more issues than you can shake a stick at. Everybody's doing something stupid and you just got to, it's ridiculous, right? It's just not worth the headache. So my thought was, how do I come up with a business that's scalable with the least amount of employees possible? And Bitcoin mining seemed to be that and learning how to trade. Now, granted, I'm not that great on the trade side, mostly because, I'm okay, but like I got to watch that daggum thing. If I'm going to trade, I'm like locked into my computer for like, God knows how long. Like, and if I'm in the right trade, like I'm going to keep watching it because like BC knows how I trade. I'm playing the 3-minute and the 15-minute chart. I really love the scalping stuff. Like it's really, really fun. And like the entry points, and like, dude, I've spent so much time like watching Alex O's videos and watching all of the different freaking tutorial videos. And then like Piper has spent countless hours on the phone with me, walking me through stuff as I learned how to screw it up. So I really like it, but it's also like a total time suck. So in my world, it was like, okay, I love it. It's fun. And like, I can do it, but like how much time versus like everybody says, oh, it's you're financially free, or you're free from having to whatever. Man, I'm locked into that daggum computer like for 6 hours to make a trade. And then I fuck it up. Like that's the worst part. Like I get like, and then I mess something up. I'm like,
and that's why I like entering a trade at 3 a.m. and then not paying attention to it for like the rest of the week, and then like just kind of paying attention to the price. And at the end of the week, you're like, oh dang, it hit my target. I guess we're up like 250%. There we go.
So that would probably be the better way to go. And I don't know how many times me and Piper have had that argument about his swing trades versus me wanting to get in and out. But like, I don't know, man. I've gotten into a swing trade position before and didn't give myself the right the right points of rebuying in or whatever, and I've gotten slammed, right? And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, I went to bed and I was up, $2,000, and I woke up this morning and it's all gone. You know what I mean? Like, what?
That's a fine how do you do first thing in the morning. Yeah.
It is. It's horrible, right? And you're like, hell, right? It's like
every once in a while when the market really shakes out and you weren't properly prepared. But that's why I like to, you kind of take some profits along the way. You move your stop loss up. You have it a trailing, or there's ways to adjust some of the same things that you do when you're scalping.
Yeah, if you're smart, that's what you would do.
Easier to mine.
Yeah. If you're smart, that's what you would do. Or if you're really bastard, you're like, no, 400%, let's go farther, go, right? And yeah, it sucks. Like you can mess it up really quick, and you get really excited. Like the way Joe trades, where he's buying different levels and popping those levels, and it's really, really fun to watch and see what he's doing. But at the same time, like the amount of time that you have to spend on that daggum chart, man, like I'm sorry that it's fun and it's exciting, and I like the adrenaline rush of it. Like it's really fun, but like how much time are you going to dedicate to that versus how much time can you spend setting up equipment, setting up machines, and just letting that stuff run, and then you can go do what you're going to do, and then if you want to trade, you can trade. So anybody can trade if you've got a good fundamental idea of how to get in and out of those trades. You can jump in and you can jump out, and you can make money, but you can also screw it up real bad and cost yourself a shitload of money, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but like one gives you adrenaline rushes and one doesn't. So
well, okay,
one's really nerdy.
Yeah,
and one's super nerdy.
I don't know if that's the litmus test. One is nerdy, but
well, no. So one's nerdy, and then one's super nerdy. Because this man is talking to me about engineering at the Bitcoin conference. I'm like, and you call me a nerd? What?
Okay. But that's the stuff I find really exciting, right? So, and what I love is how do I take something and make it 0.5% better, 1/4% better, or 1% better? Because it's scale, right? If you're looking at a large quantity or a large thing, and you can do a 1/4% adjustment, 0.5% adjustment, and get that much more yield out of something, or cut your energy rate down, or cool your equipment that much faster because you put a different circulating loop in, or you used a variable frequency pump that's going to adjust your delta T on your pipes, right? Like that is really cool to me. And that's what I find that really exciting, but that's what I nerd out on, right? Like I nerd on the mechanical engineering part of it. And like BC nerds out on like nerd shit.
Yeah. The real nerd stuff. Well, we did have a question from the chat, and he was asking, what about when the block reward goes to 0? Which I know your answer on that. It's the same answer I give. But if there's no transactions, or if there's only L2 transaction, he's saying the system fails because we need transactions. So on that first part, what about if the block reward goes to 0?
I mean, maybe it was at 2045 or when we were in that
long after I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. We'll all be dead. Yeah.
So like, come on, that's only another 20 years.
No. When the block rewards go to 0?
Yeah, no, 2145, not 2045. Oh, you'll be dead too, Badel. Sorry.
I thought he said 2045, and I go, well, that's only 20 years.
No, you'd be like 100. You'd be like 160 something at that point. I'm
now
sure
AI is here, so Badel could still be alive. That's
I'm gonna put my consciousness in this computer, and I'm still gonna be there for it. We're gonna tell people how to mine Bitcoin the most efficiently, and in that time period. But also,
guys,
I mean,
just so you know, we're doing a cigar tonight in honor of Stephen Gill. He died 20 years ago today, ambushed in Al-Anbar province in the Zidon area.
Well, I don't have a cigar, but
I don't either.
We're gonna raise this to that. There you go.
If I did, my girl would kill me for smoking it in the house. So there's that. Yeah, and you know she would, Buck.
Yes, she would.
That's why I'm in the garage studio, because I can smoke out here.
On the lines of that questioning, though, like as the block reward slowly approaches that 0 point, how do you go about making it the whole system of mining Bitcoin profitable still? Because I know you have your point where, okay, energy costs, and if I get down to this price point, I'm no longer mining Bitcoin profitably, and that's where Piper talks about those hash rates dropping. But as those rewards get less, how do you compete in that marketplace?
So it's all about
what's your like kind of guidelines to end up on the path of staying profitable?
So right now, I currently have a downside target of was it $42,300 is what my Bitcoin production is at right now at running overclocked at out here in West Texas. So every Bitcoin we produce is about $42,300 per coin. The equipment is what the major thing is, the equipment, right? So like the stuff that he's running in his house, where you used to be able to get away with doing GPU mining on Bitcoin, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So it's like an arms race, right? So you have to figure out how to compete within the arms race and swap your gear out at a certain level to where as soon as you decide that you're seeing this efficiency drop down, then you're going to sell that gear off and get your new gear in. There's also you have to play the tax deduction game, right? So you can depreciate your equipment in, I think it's 1 year is the least amount you can do it in, but split that depreciation up over a 2-year period, right? So your CapEx, you have to go ahead and start pulling that off and getting new machines in, finding places to unload the old machines. It's a game, right? At the end of the day, it's a game. The other thing you can do is you can package up your terahash with multiple units and then sell the terahash off into other things, right? So like there's always a more efficient way. If you look at it as a whole instead of one independent unit, there's different things you can do, right? So you can mix some old S19Js with some new S21 XPs and what's your average rate of production at that point, right? So there's different ways you can do with the math to make that thing match up. At the end of the day, I'm looking to accumulate Bitcoin, right? Like I am not selling my Bitcoin off every day. That's not something I do. I might go 3 or 4 months without selling any Bitcoin because I want to ride that ride down. So as the hash rate goes down, the price goes down, machines go offline. Well, that you think that you're going to get less Bitcoin, but no, it actually works the opposite way. Because as people, like in the summertime specifically, as they turn their machines off, there's less people fighting for that coin, right? So you're still going to get the same block rewards, and then you'll pick up more and more of that Bitcoin, and then there'll be a difficulty adjustment like we just had. What was that, 2-3 weeks ago when it hit? I mean, that was like an automatic overnight 12% increase across the board on anything you were mining or close to it. So like being in the game at that point, you're riding out other people that are running out of money. The other thing is when the price starts to go down and people get non-profitable. So the average hosting rate, like if you're going to host with somebody else, Bitmain or some of these big places, they're going to charge you 8-cent power, right? So what I look for is, okay, what is that break even point at 8-cent power? If I'm at 8 cents, where are people going to start shutting off at? And at that point, that's where you start ramping up, right? Because you're going to have miners go offline. Cool. Let me take that terahash away. Let me go ahead and produce that Bitcoin, get the Bitcoin in the wallet, and then ride it back to the upside, because it's all about accumulating as much Bitcoin as humanly possible.
Oh yeah, and when the network hash rate drops, that means you get more BTC, like you said. And okay, like you have the smart, and you did the math, and you understand, like, okay, break even for me is like 43,000, 44,000, somewhere in that area at what I have in equipment and my power cost. But it's like, will Bitcoin ever drop below that? Let's hope not. But even at that point, like, would you still mine at a loss though? For a little while?
Oh yeah, it's a loss leader, right? So if Bitcoin dumps that hard and we get down below $43,000, that means people are turning off their machines because they're freaking out, right? Like everybody,
they're probably selling them too. Like,
oh yeah, They're dumping
Wholesale.
stuff in the market. Yeah. That's when you pick it up. You make money when you can shark other people out of their positions, right? When they haven't planned for worst case scenarios and they're not prepared and they don't have cash sitting on the side to pay their power bills, that's when you eat them alive. You put them out of business and you buy up all their stuff, right? Like that's just what you do. That's how you win in business. You have to look at it as, okay, how do I hedge against the downside? And then how do I take advantage of other people not understanding what the downside is?
Yeah. And I think you and I both tried to bring this up at the same time. Sorry about that. Just to the point, Luigi, he's not talking in riddles. He's talking from the perspective of a business owner who's sitting here running a mining business. That's where he's coming from. But I get where I think I get where Luigi's coming from here, and I was gonna kind of try to reframe the question. So let me do it now. Part of what he's talking about, I've heard so many people recently talk about, because a lot of the recent blocks have had next to no fees in them. It's been all mining rewards that have been what these miners are getting. Now, as these rewards cut back, obviously, every 4 years, I see where he's saying people are sitting on their Bitcoin. They're holding their Bitcoin, so there's nothing being moved. Okay, very little being moved. So maybe Buck and BC, by all means, what do you guys maybe kind of look at it that way? Because his point is, well, if we don't have those fees, eventually the system fails, because who's going to want to mine it for nothing and protect the system? And I get the point, but I think that's going to end up being a moot point by the time we get there. But that's
that does happen, and you get to the point where no one's using it. Like, okay, so no one's using it all. Does the price of Bitcoin stay where it's at? You're still going to get your blocker rewards, right? You just won't get your fees. So, like,
well,
okay.
I think he's trying to say, as we move to where the block rewards are next to nothing or nothing, again, we'll all be dead by that point. But
that's what I tried to touch on earlier. Is like you're get what is it, 3.25 Bitcoin per block right now? So it's like you're talking about $300,000 per block. When it splits in half, you're talking about 1.75. You're still talking about the price is going to adjust upwards in that whole period of time. It negates some of those losses. So as it becomes more and more difficult to mine, Bitcoin's price is going up, meaning that kind of similarly, you're getting the same amount of rewards no matter how many the Bitcoin it is, because Bitcoin's price is largely based off of what is the cost of production. It's a double energy play. One, the energy that goes into it, and then two, it's a currency, and currency is energy. It is the movement of energy from one person to another. Your other part of that, where you're talking about L2s still use the same block. You're batching transactions, and then it goes over to use less space on that block. So you're not just skipping the original blockchain. You're still using it. Yes, there's a lot less rewards, but when it comes down to it, they're still getting 3.25 Bitcoin per block. Why is that not profitable? You don't really, yes, you kind of need transactions, but at the point where there's less and less Bitcoin to be mined, and you see there's more and more use cases in everyday life for people to actually use Bitcoin to transact with. We have countries that instead, they're like, hey, let me just pay you with 1 Bitcoin because that pays all of our debt. That's what we're slowly going to get to. It's going to be for large scale transfers. And we're in a bit of an intermediary phase as new people with large amounts of money are coming into the space holding it. You know how they're going to make money? You know how they're going to make money off of that? They have to sell it. They have to move it.
So fees made a lot of money when you had a lot of little bitty people playing in Bitcoin, right? You had the guys trying to make $200 out of $10, right? And that's the people that were buying, selling. And when you get into larger dollar amounts and bigger investors, they don't buy and sell like that, especially when you look at the TradFi portion of this. When you look at ETFs, like any of you guys can look at any of your 401k products that you got from any company you work with, or talk to your uncles or your dads. Keith is probably in that age range too. You look kind of boomerish, but you're probably closer to me.
Yes, I'm generationally challenged. Facts are what they are.
401k retirement. What's that?
Right, but those accounts, all they're doing is dumping money into the same asset thing every single time, right? They're not selling, they're not buying, they're dumping a little bit of money into that over a 15, 20-year period, and it's not being sold. That's what you wanted for this type of asset, to kind of help to stabilize that part, right? And then as Bitcoin gets adopted long term, we'll probably see more transactions come up again, right?
Thank you, K Diggity. I appreciate that. And to the point, as you know, I one of us highlighted this, his next comment here. You're also going to take into account, you're looking at it from today's dollars, and you need to look at it from, I don't know, 20 year from now dollars.
That's what I was going to say. I was just waiting for everybody else to stop, because I was just going to say, like, my opinion is, okay, you want to look at the block reward, say 100 years from now, say that's 25 halvenings. Okay, what happens to the Bitcoin price every halvening? It normally doubles.
50%.
So look at it, 50x here. So in 100 years, now this is all hypothetically, in 100 years, right, Bitcoin could be worth $50 million per coin. But your block reward for mining might only be like 0.01 or 0.1. But you're still looking at a $500,000 block reward, which is still more than you're getting right now. Because as the halvings happen, it means less coins are being given out. And typically we've seen that the price kind of doubles for every halvening.
And not to be rude, but I really don't give a shit what happens in 100 years.
Yeah, right. No, I get it. Yeah, it becomes my grandchildren's and their children's problem. And you're welcome, Luigi. I appreciate the questions. And yes, eventually they go when it's just fees. That's true. And again, that's 100 and whatever 30
like
years.
120. It's like 122 year from now problem.
Yeah.
Which
I
frankly don't care, because I'm not going to be here. As long as I can push Bitcoin forward into the world and actually have people like this having discussions, you won't ever get to that point where people are actually transacting every single day with Bitcoin, which is what you're talking about.
Well, not only that, but we're so early. Like, I mean, you're talking adoption levels of what, like 2%, 3 or 1.5% or something stupid. So like, it doesn't look that great, but there's literally nobody in Bitcoin. Like, if you look at it compared to anything else, they're not there. Username, my little buddy. Hey.
I had to.
From the time that I got into Bitcoin, which is like 2011, and then seeing it explode in kind of a way back in 2020 during COVID, and now you're seeing it. I think they say about 6% of people in the entire United States hold or use crypto. That's a massive explosion in 10 years. In 10 years, massive explosion. And there's still so much further to go, that if you can get at least, let's say we can get a 20% adoption, you don't think that you're going to start seeing those transaction rewards kind of supplement some of those block rewards? I do think we see that when it's not just the big BlackRocks and all these other ETFs that are buying and holding. Because eventually you're going to get to the point where it's like, okay, we're buying, we're holding, but who do we sell to? They're going to have to sell if they want their profits. Otherwise, that's just an imaginary number in their account.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the Ethereum mining days, that's when everybody liked Ethereum. But I feel that it was the mining Ethereum was the money we were making as miners was based off of the fees. And not quite the block reward.
Yes.
And I'm not a big fan of Ethereum, but if I remember right, we were all just making money off the fees, not the block reward.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And see, and that was because they wanted to do things, but they wanted to do it different. And that was their whole goal, is how do we push this forward as not just it being used to transact with, how do we build on top of a currency's ecosystem? And that's what Ethereum was all about. It wasn't about, here, let me transact with this other person. It's how do we have a smart contract that at the end of it has this transaction goes through when this said thing occurs. And that's what you need in an ecosystem is, okay, if then. And that's that next kind of phase. That was the next kind of phase in programming as well. You had static line programming, and then you got to if then statements. And then you get to this next if then. And it'll just continue to progress. And that's kind of what we have as L2s and L3s. It's adding onto that ecosystem. Ethereum's a completely different beast than Bitcoin is, and I've never correlated them as similar.
Yeah, I get what Badel's trying to say, and I think, BC, in my opinion, to some degree, you just kind of answer here, where he's talking about, okay, the price has gone up, but the utility has been hindered, and I don't know if it's necessarily been hindered. I do believe it's become the coins and the holding of them themselves have become a bit centralized, but I don't want to get down that road. My point is, I guess, that as time goes on, as technology progresses, as all this happens, that is going to, even if it's being hindered, it will no longer be hindered. And I think that kind of leads in very much, in my opinion, and but tell me I'm wrong, but I think it leads very much into what you're doing. I mean, you're taking it, in my opinion, into that next step. These data centers for AI and all this other stuff are already there, and you are literally coming in my opinion, and supplementing that. And if I've twisted your business model a little bit, enlighten everybody, because I really think what you're doing is amazing, and moving the entire space in the right direction. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that basically what I did was trying to figure out places that have power, aren't utilizing the power. How do we turn that power into a profit center, right? It doesn't, not necessarily does it have to be an AI data center. It could be anything, right? So one of the coolest ones that I looked at was a concrete plant. The concrete plant buys their energy on a contract where they're required to use XYZ amount of energy, right? If they don't use that amount of energy, they have to pay a fee to put it back into the system because they're using huge amounts of energy. But if one of their pieces of equipment goes down, boom, they're dead in the water, right? Well, then you go in there and go, all right, here's your backup. Here's the way to make sure you're not paying an extra fee. And while we're at it, we can put this much load on there for you, so that way you can get your power cheaper, right? Data centers are the same way. Everybody got really, really excited about AI data centers. There's great money in it, right? But there's also a bunch of competition on those contracts, right? So your latency has to be at a certain point. You have to be able to recall your data. You have to have 3 different sources of power, overlapping power, to make sure you're never going to go down. You have to have 2 different fiber connections. There's all these things that you have to do that some of these developers go, I got this property, now I got a data center. And you're like, yeah, okay, go get some contracts, bro. And they're like, oh shit, contract. I'm like, yeah, so you got all this money you just spent, and like, good job. And the only person who made money was the guy who got all the investors involved to cough up the cash, and now he's sitting on a pile of money to sit on, right? So then you go, okay, hey guys, you guys kind of, you shit the bed. So how do we figure out how to get you out of this scenario, right? And that seems to work really well. It bypasses the need for developing a brand new property, which is the way you want to do it, right? Like if you're going to go from scratch, go buy a piece of property, get it close enough to the energy sources you want to use. If you can utilize natural gas, that's even better. But then there's a whole game on, like, how are you recycling the heat off of your miners? Are you putting that back into creating more power? Are you, like, what are you doing with that site to make it more efficient? Just hooking up a box and running, and you go, cool, anybody can do that. Well, and how do we take it to the next step, right? How do we make it more efficient, get more power, put cheaper power out there, maybe make it a power generation source where you're pushing power back into the grid when there's a low grid time. Everybody heard about what happened in Texas when we had the snowstorms, right? Like everything crashed and burned, and they had stuff shut down, all kinds of stuff. Well, okay, Well, how do you help balance the grid in Texas by using Bitcoin miners to let them produce more and use that power, right? Like we've got so much unused dumb power out there. Like why not utilize that power and those sources to push it back and forth?
You're speaking music to my ears. Yeah, in my opinion,
Well
right there.
said.
And that touches on that aspect where I said that Bitcoin is a dual energy play. And that speaks on it right there. It's a dual purpose play. And at the end of the day, it's kind of a little bit of an arbitrage game.
Yeah, totally is. And like at any given time, the power gets traded just like any other commodity, right? So you're just going to be up, it's going to be down, it's going to be sideways. Well, when it's hurting, like utilize why aren't the states, why aren't the federal government utilizing Bitcoin miners on an IoT meter setup, interacting with their ERCOT system to gear up and gear down to take that load off when they don't need it, right? It doesn't make any sense. But like the more people you talk to about it, they're like, oh no, it's crypto. It's that whole FTX, everybody's still scared of the last dump. Well, I mean, if you look at FTX, yeah, that guy screwed a bunch of people, but that company made billions, man. They held on to everybody's Solana. They paid people off after their bankruptcy at whatever their dollar amount was on their wallet at the time, and they held all the damn coin. Like, what was a billion? How many billions of dollars did they make on screwing everybody on that deal? So, like, everybody's scared, but if you actually look at it, no, man, that was probably the best business play that those guys could have ever made, right? Like, that's the game.
Except for ending up in prison.
Well, that guy did, but the people who were actually running the corporation, they made a ton of money and they're getting all kinds of money back out of it, right? So there's still a legal entity there, and that legal entity filed for their bankruptcy protection, and they were able to get out just giving somebody some cash, and they held 4 years before they did that, right? So like they drug it out for years and years and years and managed to hold on to the coin. Well, what was that coin? What's Solana worth when they had it in their wallets, right? Like, what was it on the coin when it crashed? Like next to nothing when they finally said, okay, you can't touch it anymore. Well, they got like a 20x on all the stuff that they held from everybody, even after they paid out everybody's money. Like, yeah, crazy.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah. But like, I think that's been a big hamper as to why crypto has been slower to be picked up this time. It does help that you have at least the big number one, Bitcoin, and the big number two, Ethereum, with ETFs.
Yeah.
Plus,
you got scumbags, right? There's so many scumbags. There's so many liars. There's so many guys making up. You don't know how many guys come across are like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, and you're like, okay, cool, man, let's go see what you got. Oh, well, yeah. All right, man. Quit bullshitting, dude. Like, you're time wasters and bullshitters, right?
Well, see, and my thing has always been where it's like I didn't get into crypto to just replace my bank with the new centralized entity, Coinbase or Crypto.com or FTX or whatever freaking centralized exchange you want to use. If that's what I wanted, I'd just keep my money in the bank.
Thank you.
I was in here for me to have my own security and be my own bank. And we are very far removed from that. And that's kind of why you see we're stumbling across a lot of the same problems that got us to the position that we were trying to escape by getting into Bitcoin to begin with. So I think it'll take time to get kind of back there. And I think we'll see that more freedom message be pushed if we see a little more failures happen, a little more government regulation trying to step their ugly head in. Because it's like, how are you going to regulate something that's in every single country? You're not. Enforce it. I dare you.
I'm just waiting for the next nasty crash when they figure out there's not enough money in the FDIC system, right? So there's not enough money in FDIC insurance to cover everybody. Like
there never has been.
No,
there never has been. That's the joke.
Yes, but now
that's the same thing like with retirement, though, too. I mean, retirement was planned for one person working to pay for one person on retirement. Now it's like 10 to 15 workers to pay for one person. And now we have all these new generation people that don't even want to work. And they're like mid-20s, almost 30, and they've never had a job in their life. And it's like, okay, well, where's that going to go?
Well, I mean, they
Sorry,
can do OnlyFans.
topic, but
It's all about the OnlyFans nowadays.
yeah, you don't even have to leave your house and you can be a millionaire. You know?
There you go.
I'm
you
pretty
go.
sure that wouldn't work as well for me as it does for other people, but whatever.
You don't know. That beard could bring in the money, baby. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I do like username's question here. Is BTC freedom when institutions are buying up everything?
I was gonna bring that up. You beat me to it. Go right ahead, man.
What are your thoughts, Buck? As a miner,
Dude,
is it still freedom?
I think anything that gives you the ability to get the hell out and make some money and outpace inflation is freedom, right? I'm not looking for 100 years. I'm not looking for 10 years. I don't know anybody who can do a business plan. Like you can plan for 5-10 years in a business plan, but realistically, if you're in a business, it's going to change in 5 years. Everything will change, right? So like right now, there's nothing that makes the kind of margin that Bitcoin mining makes besides selling dope, right? So and I'm trying to go to jail. So like I'm really good with a 60% margin, right? On a OPEX margin. Like, let's go. And there's nothing else that I've found that does those curves. So like right now, rock on. Is everybody controlling it can screw it? Yeah, man. They can totally do a hard fork. They can do all kinds of things, right? Long term to screw us over. But like once again, that's everything. It's you got to be smart and you got to know when to get in and get out. And whenever it's a point where it's life-changing money for you, like how do you change it and how do you adjust to that, right? Like I know that right now I'm stacking as much Bitcoin as possible. I will probably do that for now through the next couple of cycles and then find some sell-off point because I made enough. Fuck everybody. I'm not talking to you assholes anymore, right? Like that's the goal.
Yeah,
I will retire and delete everybody, right?
Right.
Be in some place
maybe not everybody, but everybody except for that select few.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, that meme. I won't say I won the lottery or I hate a Bitcoin solo block, but there will be signs.
There will be signs. Yes.
Yeah. I'll be in Venezuela. I'll be in Venezuela with Starlink on a compound with a tank sitting out front. Yeah, there will be signs.
You never hit that solo block though, correct?
No. That's just going to be for my investing. I will get there. But
Jay Violet's in the house.
I'm not honestly a big fan of the solo block mining. Like it seems more like buying a lottery ticket to me than anything else, right? Like
I was gonna ask you how you felt about the solo miners. So go ahead. There's the question. How do you feel about the solo miners?
All right, so I understand it, and I understand the idea behind a lottery ticket, right? But for me, a business is a business that you can kind of plan for. A solo miner, like, what are the chances? Like, have y'all run the numbers on what the likelihood is to hit a block by yourself if you're running whatever that unit is? Like, what are the actual chances?
So, according to CK stats or CK pool stats, at 1 terahash, you're at a 0.005% chance per year to hit a block at 1 terahash.
So you're saying I should just go buy a scratch ticket instead? That's what I heard. That's what it sounds like.
That's what a solo miner is. It's a scratcher, like Shuby said. It's a scratcher that keeps scratching. That's all it is.
They have to continuously pay to keep scratching for.
Yeah,
I mean, okay. So the bid axes that I have 2 of them, and they're like 450 to 500 gigahash a piece. I think they're like 16 watts. So it's 32 watts every day or every hour that I burn. Okay, it's say 10 cents a month. Okay, yeah, maybe in 20 years I might hit a block, but in 20 years, I'm going to spend what, say $1,000, $1,500 on electric, maybe.
So at that point, I'd just give Buck $1,500 and he would guarantee pay me out in Bitcoin.
So that's the thing, right? So like how much time and bullshit did you deal with to possibly get a fucking block in 20 years? Like, no, like fuck, screw that. Like that's a lot of effort, right? And what could that effort be spent doing? And if you're doing other things that you know are going to make money, well, like even if you just took an S19, a cheap S19, you threw it at your house and you let it mine. Even if you're mining at a negative, so what? Let it keep mining, because you won't notice the power bill, right? You'll barely notice you'll have an increase, but not enough to where it hurts your pocket. And all you're doing is DCA into Bitcoin. Even at a 12 to 13% energy rate, a long-term DCA play, everybody knows long-term DCA on Bitcoin is where it's at. So even if that thing's operating at $1 a day loss, let that thing keep going. Pay the $1 a day, pay the $1.50 a day, and keep stacking those sats.
Yeah, but that's at a loss. I mean,
yeah, it's only at a loss if you sell it right then. If Bitcoin is what you think Bitcoin is, and we have an average of an increase of 25 to 40% every year over year, every 4 years, we're getting a 60 to 100% run on it. Then at that moment, you lost $1 that day. But who fucking cares about today? You should be planning for 10 years from now when you're getting retired.
But that's losing $1 a day if you're mining to a pool and you sell every day. So you said like an S19 on solo, right? And
No, not solo. Fuck solo. Like go hook up to Luxor or whatever.
Okay.
You're gonna lose a 2% clip on Luxor for the pool fee, right? If you're a small miner, you're gonna pay 2% a fee on the thing. You're gonna get X amount of Bitcoin every day, right? And all you're doing is stacking those sats, right? So like you're building your bag of Bitcoin bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you don't sell that Bitcoin today, you sell that Bitcoin 4 years from now. What is the likelihood that Bitcoin is 40% higher 4 years from now?
Yeah,
hell.
basically,
exactly.
what he's saying is you're not mining at a loss. Yes, you're paying to mine, but you're not mining at a loss because you haven't realized your profits.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, if you can do one better than that and not just mine, but figure out something you're doing in your house that you're already using power for, that you can take the Bitcoin miners and use that Bitcoin miners to do something else. Like I built a pool heater for my pool in Florida. So that way I was going to be paying that for the energy anyway, right? It's 220 volts. It's a single phase line, and cool. 2 Bitcoin miners in an immersion tank tied to a heat exchanger is now heating my pool because I would have had to pay for the pool heater anyway. What about taking your Bitcoin miners and then routing your exhaust fan into your HVAC system, right? To build heat, or even preheat your water heater so you're spending less money on your water heater heating. How do you use what that output is of energy you would have already been using and use that for something in your house or something you're doing? And now you have a net neutral cost on your energy cost because you're already doing something else and you're stacking Bitcoin, because the goal is to stack as much Bitcoin as you can. That way, one day you have a big enough bag that you can either sell off, or like me, I take loans against it, right? So like I'm going to take a loan against my Bitcoin because why the hell would I sell it off? I'll take a loan at 6, 7, 8%, 9% or whatever, ride that sucker off, start paying it off. And I'm just, using that to make a bigger and bigger bag. But in my head, it's even like, you're probably younger than me. I'm getting to be an old man now. I'm 45 years old. So I didn't think I would make it to 30, man. Like I thought there was no way in hell I was living to 30, especially not 40, right? And my body hurts, I'm broken down, but now I'm older and I get out of the bed in the morning. I'm like, you start thinking about different things, right? Like how do you not hurt so bad? And how do you not have to do manual labor, right? Like I can't do the work I did in my 20s. There's no way. Like if I was to say, show up at my Marine Corps unit and go, hey man, I'm here to work, they would freaking laugh at me. Like there's no way not going to happen, right? I would physically die trying to do that work nowadays.
I turned 40 3 months ago, and I've had, in the last 3 months, I've probably had 5 or 6 things happen in my life that I have never experienced ever in my life. And I'm like, oh, I guess this is what 40 feels like. And I'm like, fuck, I'm still fresh into 40. Like, it's not cool.
Talk to me in 20 years, brother. That's all I'm saying right there. Talk to me in 20 years.
About the whole supplementing the Bitcoin. So here in Illinois where I live, I agree with that because like in the winter time, I spread out my miners and it pretty much heats my whole fucking house. The only thing I use gas for is like the stove and the water heater. That's about it. That bill is always like null to almost zero, but then the ComEd or the electric bill is a little bit higher. But I mean, to use one or the other, they're about the same price.
Yeah, but even taking like your Bitcoin exhaust off your machines, right? Duck them into your HVAC system, right? That's an easy way just to you could have a lever to where in the wintertime when you actually do run on the heat, just open it up and let that sucker run the heat through it, right? Like that's an easy way, an easy, fast way that takes relatively no real knowledge base. It's just hooking up some vent pipes in the back of your Bitcoin miners, right?
And I just want to highlight right here that username wins. There you go. There it is. Username.
There's no way he is that old. The conversations we
lies,
not buying.
lies.
And shout out to my Rue buddy in the chat, man. I didn't realize she was older than me.
Who?
She said just old. You're just younger. And then there's me over here, like, geez.
Yeah, I love this. At least he's not lying. He is a baby. Every time we do a video and age gets brought up, it's like, dude, I put up a picture of a baby because you're a baby, dude.
But he doesn't seem that young, right? So like when you talk to him, you figure he's like an older dude, the way he talks and the way he thinks about stuff. And then I figure out how old he was. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, what?
Hey, Melissa, welcome. Melissa's in the house. Love when Melissa's in the house. So I know you have commercial, like business solutions solutions for businesses. Do you also do residential solutions? So if somebody wanted something like you said, where you did that pool heater, that kind of thing, is that something you do for residential too?
So I've done it for a couple of friends. I haven't had a lot of people that were really interested in it because it once again, like it costs money to set up. So if you're going to go in, you've got to buy the miners, you got to set things up, you've got to run the electrical connections, make sure you have all of the parts and pieces put together. And on the residential side, unless it's a Bitcoiner that likes to be in Bitcoin, they're probably not really excited about doing something like that. The commercial side, it's easier because they just want to offset their power costs, right? So you go in there and we say, like, we go into a business and say, okay, Mr. Business Owner, what are you paying for your power? Where are you at? What are you using, right? And then figure out a way to integrate some kind of IoT sensor to cut their power of what they're using, and then take that power and plug it back into machines and make money on the backside of it, right? On the residential side, you can do the same exact thing. It's just on a smaller scale. So you can hook up to anything. You can hook up to a house without solar panels. You can hook up to a house with solar panels. At the end of the day, we can help. I want as many people into Bitcoin as possible because I think they should be, right? The more machines we have online, the more people that are mining, it just makes sense. Even with a 12-cent power rate, it's the same as you DCAing into a Bitcoin position, right? Like not everybody can get crazy power rates, but we even have stuff where we do for regular people, like we'll host equipment at our site for people. I'm a little picky on who I work for just because, like, some people suck, right? And you don't want to have to deal with them. So yeah. So like you'll have
facts, man, facts.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
like some people,
a different business model than what you got going. I mean, that's a Terra hosting kind of business model, like Hawk is doing. When you're doing that kind of thing.
Which it's fine, you can do it, but like if someone doesn't know what they're doing and they think they want to get into Bitcoin mining and then they don't understand any of it, and then you get stuck like holding their fucking hand and like, okay, dude, look, this, and this, and but I don't understand. Of course you don't understand. So it's kind of hard. So sometimes you'll have somebody that wants to work with you and you're like, hey bro, like you seem cool, but no, I'm not playing this game with you, man. Like I don't have the time or the inclination to deal with your bullshit. So I'm just not doing it. Maybe one day I'll figure out a way to do it where it's seamless, where they can log in and just buy some Terahash and be able to run with it. But I'm not quite there yet. We're still a little bit far out on that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like Hawk has been saying, and I feel I'm not going to speak for Buck. I'll let him say what he says. But, Hawk's been saying lately a lot and has been for a little while. Granted, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like, Bitcoin mining is more of like a commercial / industrial scale nowadays. It's not for residential. Like, I want to say he said a few times that like you need 50 to 100 ASICs just to be profitable at a certain electric rate.
Yes.
You can't just buy a S21 or S23, plug it in at home and be profitable. I mean,
well, you can't plug it in home anyway because you don't have 3-phase power, right? So even if you wanted to buy that unit and you wanted to hook it up at home, fuck you, because you don't have three-phase power. So unless you reconfigure your whole house, you're not going to get it, right? So Bitcoin mining went from you could do it on your computer back in the early days, right, to you're doing GPUs to where you're doing ASICs. Well, then the ASIC mining went into commercial and industrial. I wrote a whole article about this that I put on LinkedIn, I think a month ago or a couple of months ago. But yeah, like unless you've got access to commercial grade power, you're not going to be mining and making good money. Like we're literally trying to figure out ways to monetize our single phase units because the yield is so bad on them, right? So running a standard single phase S19J or S19K Pro, your yield sucks. So until you start running three-phase power and putting really big power behind something, you don't make money. And the only time you do that is when you can broker your power rate, or maybe you have a deal where you've got trapped natural gas or some kind of trapped energy source, and that's where you're going to make money. But like the oil companies are literally doing this at the source of their oil wells now, right? So they're pumping oil out of the ground. With the oil comes natural gas. They're cleaning the natural gas, putting it through a system, cleaning it up, throwing it to a genset, and then burning the natural gas to build the power, right? But like if you're going to do that, for every 1 megawatt of power, it's $1 million in a genset, right? So to even play in that game, you're talking huge money. And like if you're going to go out to like a big genset, a TS 2500 or something like that, you're talking 20 megawatts at $1 million a megawatt or $1.5 million a megawatt brand new. You're talking about a $30 million purchase. Who the hell has $30 million to get into a deal like that, right? So what you're doing is making the barrier of entry so much harder to get into the mining stuff, to where you just have to lock in commercial power rates, and it's becoming a game of big power brokers using that big power, because they went and grabbed all the power when they wanted the AI data centers, right? They're grabbing the land, they're grabbing the power, they're grabbing the agreements for the power, and now they're going, well, what do I do with the power if I can't get it? So that's why I'm just trying to slide right in there and go, all right, guys, you guys don't quite have this together. How about we do this instead and make some money in the meantime?
If someone wants to do some mining at home, Bitcoin mining is no longer the way to go. There's plenty of other projects you can mine and be profitable and still be okay.
Yeah. I mean, just don't mess around with Caspa, fucking bullshit coin.
Well, I was thinking like
Twitter
LTC.
today, and I freaking hate X, but there were so many people on there today like, oh, who said Caspa was dead? I was like, whatever. I never bought Caspa. I never liked it. It was never a fan. Like, oh, it's up 20% in a day. Ooh.
Yeah, that didn't make up for the 87% drop the last 2 months. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I was so mad. Like, I bought the Caspa miner. I started mining Caspa. I'm like, all right, this is going to work. And like, so I buy all of the different stocks for like different mining companies. Like, not that I like love companies or whatever, but I buy the stocks so that way I can listen to the shareholders meetings, because I want to hear what they're doing and what they're talking about. I want to see their prospectuses. I want to see what's going on within the industry, right? So like, okay, I'll buy your stupid stock just so I can hear what you're doing. And like the week before that they launched their Marathon talked about it, their CEO is on the stockholder meeting saying, we're a Bitcoin only mining company. All we're going to ever do is mine Bitcoin. We don't buy any of these other altcoins. And then lo and behold, 2 weeks later, oh yeah, by the way, guys, we've been mining Caspa. We repurposed all these old machines, and we've been mining Caspa for the last 6 months. And then they dumped the market, right? They just sold it all into the market. And all these machines, everybody had like negative. Talk to Tradefly about his machine. Like all these guys that got into these Caspa machines, they're running it at a crazy negative every day. And in my head, like, all right, I'm okay with doing that on Bitcoin, right? Like I'll run on a negative on Bitcoin. I'll let it keep mining because I'm making Bitcoin. But on something like Caspa, I don't know, man. Like that I'm not loving it. I'm not feeling it. But then I also wasn't okay with buying the Trump coin either, right? Like that was a shit show that I saw happening. I shorted it from 42 and then I shorted it from 76. So like I was not going to buy that on the way up because I just thought there was no way in hell, right? Like no, not doing it.
Yeah, but that's a meme coin though. So
yeah, well, yeah, and it's going to be of any use while he's in office. Other than that, I mean, yeah, that whole situation. Anybody who's been around my channel knows how much I love that coin. I mean, but I by the same token, I also don't besmirch Army Piper for getting his car paid off by trading himself some Trump coin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that son of a bitch did it right though, right? Like he was calling me at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was 7:15 in the morning. I've got like
Same.
5 missed calls from him, right? And he's blowing me up, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, dude, stop! I'm trying to like I was doing some signing for a property we were buying, so I had like the notary over, and I've got all these people, and like back to back phone calls. And finally he calls me up. I get online with him. I'm like, "What, dude?" He goes, "Why are you not buying this? I've just paid off my car." And I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And he started showing me. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yep.
Hey, business is business, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you were
Well, and that's it.
at the time. Like, sorry, call back later.
Yeah,
Well,
but he did it
but, I
right.
mean-
Right? He jumped in. He made his money. He jumped out.
And jumped out. Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Dave Digital was one of him and Dave Digital and Polo when I had a really hard time early on when I was trading, right? I would hold trades way too long and I'd get up like 150% and then they'd come back and slap me in the face, right? Like it was these stupid trades.
Yep.
We were on the Chart Prime course. They have like a class they do every day, like Chart Prime does. And like we're in there talking. They're like, dude, just get the fuck out of the way. And I was like, what? He goes, if you're up, take your things. It's going to retrace, especially in this market, and then jump back in if you want to. And I was like, oh man, I'm not very good at this. Like I got to get out of the way and just come back in when it's time to come back in. And Piper does a great job on it. I make fun of him for being, kind of scared sometimes because like he acts like a little girl whenever he's like worried about jumping out of position, and he wears a purse. So like, there's that, but either way, like, all good.
Yeah, no, I love
right.
Piper. Love Piper. And Wick's wife in the house. And yes, you're right. Some of these YouTube influencers are, definitely being paid, and if they're not being paid currently to shield Casper, they were at some point. I know we're going along here already. What did I miss? Oh.
Nothing you can read or bring up on screen.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, yes, there we go. We'll just let that ride. Thank you, username. You almost got me. Username. Almost.
Right there.
I know we're going a little bit longer than normal tonight, and I appreciate you sticking around a little bit, Buck. But I got a question because you were bringing up a few minutes ago about the energy costs, and one of the things that BC and I have talked about, and I heard about in one of my regional crypto conferences that I was at the end of last year was nuclear power, and in particular the way they're trying to go to kind of more portable, using my air quotes there, nuclear power. Are you seeing any of that, hearing about any of that? Yes.
One of my partner's wives works on like some kind of fuel source delivery system for those things or whatever. Really neat, a lot of money, and it's more of a state/government thing at this point that they haven't got the price down low enough. Hopefully, if it works out right, like so everybody's been so scared of nuclear forever, right? There was a whole campaign launched against it in the 80s and the 70s,
right?
And keeps going, right? Like even that Chernobyl show, if y'all watch Chernobyl on HBO, bullshit, complete freaking bullshit. It didn't match up to anything that actually happened or how it worked, but that's what people want to watch and they want to be scared, right? So if they can work out the nuclear part, that should drop everybody's energy cost, right? It should.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The problem is, like,
I'm glad that it's you heard about it, because that means it's being talked about. I mean, it's something. I mean, well, BC talks about it with this side right here. BC talks about it when he's talking about his stock plays and that kind of thing. And BC, I don't know if you want to just so you're not getting caught short here. Do you want to just wrap yourself up here with anything before I know you got to go?
No, I'll just tell everyone to have a good night. I gotta go make some money, refurbish and sell phones. So someone has been blowing me up on the Facebook Messenger. So I gotta go handle that. So everyone have a good night. I will see you at the next one and tomorrow morning if you're up that early.
God willing, I won't.
Have a good one, BC.
Don't do anything I
Take
would
care,
do.
BC. Have a good night, man.
I can't promise that.
That's
Later.
a long page.
Later. That's too funny. Yeah,
So-
I mean, he's live so damn early. I can't even. I don't even know how I'm up sometimes. This morning happened to be one of those mornings, and man, it kills me. Like right now, I could literally just fall asleep talking to you right now. I am so tired here.
I was trying to go back to bed when you were sending stuff in Discord. I just didn't even reply because I was like, I took my glasses off. I'm just listening to the TV. I'm like just trying to sleep, and I just hear my phone vibrate on the table, and I'm like, God damn it.
So
yeah,
one
what
of
the hell
things I love
CCM
about-
doing up this early in the morning? What the hell is this? It was one of those nights I couldn't sleep. I got like an hour sleep, but I'll tell you what, that will be rectified tonight because I'm exhausted right now.
One of the things I love about BC is he's a nerd and he drives a tractor. Like I think that's so
right.
cool. Right.
Yes.
Like, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So besides the mini power plants are talking about in the nuclear, I'm really excited right now about the hydrogen fuel cells. I think that's even got a better run to it. So check this out. There's a chemical that comes off the solar panels that you have that can be turned into fuel for hydrogen fuel cells, right? Then the hydrogen fuel cell, the byproduct of creating fuel using the hydrogen fuel cell is actually potable water. So if you set these things up right, you could actually be creating potable water for different people in different parts of the world by creating energy. So think of it if you're in a third world country and there's some crappy place in whatever place that has no water, no clean water or whatever, and they don't have enough power, but they might happen to have a mine of some sort, whether that be a gold mine, a silver mine, a cobalt mine, or whatever mine that needs power, right? Well, now you use the capex to put these generators on the ground to start developing this mine. Well, then you'll have excess power and excess potable water. That seems like a really, really cool fit, and it's a lot closer than a big nuclear generator that you can run sites on. As far as like they're already in the field, they're already running, and you can literally take stuff off of the solar panels to create that.
Well, what are you thinking about that? I'm not familiar with this beyond what you're saying. I've heard about it in the background, but is it really overrated for large scale?
So far, they have not been able to put big, large scale stuff together. You're only talking maybe 5 to 10 megawatts at a time on those programs. Okay. So they're not big gen sets, and they haven't got to the point where they're taking the place of the T2500, 25 megawatt generators. But it's a hell of a lot closer than the nuclear is right now. So I feel like that might be a really good round to go. Plus, if you're looking at hydro miners, the biggest problem with a hydro miner is having your water source, right? You're going to have a water connection. And if you're getting the power in the right places, there ain't no water out there. Like where I'm mining in West Texas, that's like a gold mine if you found water. And even if you had water, it's been evaporated after 2 days of summer heat, right? So like it is what it is.
Right.
I'm just curious how you're coming up with hydrogen or something to make hydrogen off of a solar panel.
So the way that piece of equipment that I was looking at the other day, there's like some kind of green hydrogen byproduct or whatever, and they're using that to develop the actual fuel cell. Then when the fuel cell's making power, it's taking the hydrogen out of or taking the water out of the hydrogen to make the reaction to it. So the byproduct is the water. I don't know as much.
So it's not like a typical solar panel that you just go to the store and buy. Okay.
No. Yeah. So okay. It's a chemical that comes. Yeah. So you're talking large solar panel farms, right? So somebody who's running 50 to 60 acres worth of solar panels.
Yeah, I've got, I don't know, 400 to 500 acres of solar panels north of my town.
Yeah.
But there was a company that came into my town. They wanted to buy like 50 acres or 100 acres to put in a solar field, and the town voted no because they said it would damage the water supply. And I was like, how does solar panels above ground damage the water supply? So you know what they did? They went a half a mile north to the county and got approved through the county. So all they did was buy land a half a mile north.
And they're not paying taxes, not the village. Yeah, and the city would have made tax revenue and everything else.
I'm like, you idiots.
Yeah, where are you at again?
In Illinois.
Oh, there you go. That libtard, retarded place.
I know exactly. Yeah. That says it all right there.
Yeah.
You guys could have made so much more tax-paying dollars, but instead they moved their solar farm a half mile north, and now you get nothing. And we still have to see it and drive past it every day. And now there's more and more every year along the same road, and it's like, oh,
and
you
yeah,
missed out.
Automatic Beats just summed it up right there. There you go.
Yeah, he's in Illinois too. I'm not quite sure, but I know he probably deals with the same BS that I talk about and bitch about at the same time.
I just heard stories from my grunt style buddies that came from up there. That's where they started their company out, was up there in outside of Chicago or whatever. And I heard all kinds of stories about Illinois.
I'm 60 miles southwest of Chicago. I used to have to drive to that place every day for work.
Place.
I'll put it nicely, because it's not crypto on the rocks, but yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
I've got some stories, man.
So Buck, because I want to be respectful for everybody else and not for nothing, I'm going to need to go pretty soon as well. But can you kind of wrap up a little bit like your business model? How can maybe even the people here that you see in the chat all the time on all these different groups help you, maybe even to help promote what it is that you're doing?
Dude, honestly, we just launched our public facing part of the company earlier this year. So any kinds of likes and shares in the social media stuff, just to help with the social proofing, is really helpful. Just because, as you're talking to people about this, they're already like, what's crypto?
Right.
If you happen to have a commercial property that you think you want to develop into some kind of a small or large crypto farm, you hit me up, message. We'll see what we can put together for you guys.
And that's like continental US kind of thing, or?
Yes, sir. Anywhere in the United States, as long as it's a deregulated power area, right? So outside of the major cities, it's mostly all of Texas is deregulated except for like San Antonio, and I think Corpus is not deregulated yet. But any of the states that have deregulated power, that we can go in there and work a power broker deal to broker the power rates, and then we can set up some crypto mining and get you going. We're launching a hosting service for clients with some of the places that we just set up. That'll be managed by one of the other partners doing the day-to-day for us. That'll be coming online pretty soon. So if you have a miner that you have not been making money on, that you're losing money on, hey man, we send it over here. We'll dunk it in the goo and get a higher return out of it. I know we're getting at least, okay, so here's an example. 100 terahash S19J, I'm getting like 125 to 130 terahash on it, running overclock and inside the immersion fluid, right? Like easy all day long. So not only can we cut the power rate, but we can actually get more out of that actual machine. So if you guys know places that want to set up mines, let me know and see what we can get going for you. And if you know people that want to actually seriously get into mining, like that would be cool too. I don't like douchebags. I'm quick to tell you, like, fuck you, man. Like, I'm out, right? So, and because life's too short, right? So if you're a douchebag, don't
maybe put some links in private chat that we could put in the public chat.
Sure, man.
Okay.
I did put in FYI in the description is your website address and your X. I did get those, and those are already in the description for anybody who wants to go and check those out.
Dude, honestly, I suck at X. Like, I've never been an X user, so like, I don't know. X was so far on like La La Land for me that I never really messed with it. So I think I'm mostly using LinkedIn, and then I started using I use X and Discord, of course, but we started using Facebook because like the 45 generation, the guys that are right in that sweet spot of business owners that are looking to diversify into different kinds of things, we're finding a really nice push out of the Facebook stuff as well.
Okay, fair enough.
X is for like the 20 and 30-year-olds, but you got to filter out like the 9 out of 10 DMs that are nothing but scams.
Right. Well, I mean, like, X is cool. X is really cool because you get to like talk to specific people, right? Like, so you'll get to meet somebody on a space and have a discussion with them. And I think that's really, really neat. But then there's just so much trash on there that you have to sift through it. I'm like, screw you guys, right?
Yeah, it does require a lot of time. I honestly, I used to stream to Facebook all the time, but it was just like, you know what I put on Facebook now? You're gonna love it. I started a senior series for people 55 plus getting into crypto, and I really do push that one on Facebook because that's the demographic right there. Just saying.
It makes sense. Well, not only that, like you have to have Facebook because like my mom will yell at me if she can't see pictures of my kids. Right? Like, my mom lives in Calgary, Alberta. Good.
People won't call and text you anymore. They'll just add you on Facebook, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, why do you decline my friend request? I just want to see what you're posting. I want to see what you've been up to these last few years. Instead of talking to you, they just want to scroll through Facebook and see what you've been doing."
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Well, I mean, my mom lives in Calgary. She does a snowbird thing where she goes from Calgary, Alberta in the summertime down to Florida in the wintertime. So like she's back and forth. And if she doesn't have pictures coming out of the kiddos, I get yelled at.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did put that link for Facebook, so everybody, if you're interested, it's in the chat. Go ahead, grab it, and go ahead and follow him on Facebook. Again, links to his website and X also in the description of this live stream. Badel, any other questions for Buck before we start to wrap this thing up?
No, I was just going through the chat, and there's actually a lot of people that say X is kind of
yeah,
hydrogen is trash.
Yeah. Well, that's username. But yeah, not that I discount the username. We love you, brother. We love you. Yeah, no, I love username. I can't wait. I mean, he's promised me we're gonna meet up when I go to my the regional conference again in New Hampshire. We're gonna get a drink. He said he'll be there, so we'll see. I
mean, the only other thing I wanted to say was, Buck,
sorry.
It was nice to meet you.
You too,
Piper came on a Hollow Line, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and found out I was a miner, and we talked. He's like, "Oh, you got to hit up Buck. You got to meet Buck. You got to talk to Buck." Blah blah blah. But I'm like, mining's kind of dead at this point for me. Like, I'm a home miner. He's more of like, it's like I just don't want to message you with like stupid little questions that you probably get thousands of.
If you need help, I'm all about helping. If I can help, I'll help. And if I can, I'll push you to somebody that knows how to do whatever that thing you're doing. Like, dude, at the end of the day, it's all about building a network of people to help each other out, right? So like you help anybody you can with the knowledge base you have, because there's probably a knowledge base they have that you could totally, they could help you with, if that makes sense. And
team, welcome. And though you're coming in at the you might have been lurking, but thank you for in the chat here toward the end. There you go. Can I mine with Buck? There you go. I don't know. You're gonna ask Buck.
He's a hard worker.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, the link for his LinkedIn is in the chat too. So make sure you check that out and follow him if you have LinkedIn. I don't know. I gave up on LinkedIn like years ago. I just couldn't stand it anymore. And yes, we will get super wasted, not too wasted. I got to go to the conference like the next day, but I'd like to know what the hell I'm doing there. But anyway, yeah, appreciate that username. Buck, anything else you want to throw out? I appreciate you being here, man, but anything else you want to throw out before we wrap this stream up?
So before you give up totally on mining, take your ass down to Texas. Let me show you some of the shenanigans that we happen to be doing. It might reinvigorate you and get you some thought processes, because just because you can't do it at home doesn't mean mining is over, if that makes sense. It's just a different kind of program with way more money involved to it, right? So like there's all kinds of stuff you could be doing once you take a look at it and go, oh, that makes sense. I could do that too, or whatever that is. So don't give up on it. Just adapt, improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Amen. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for everybody being so active in the chat. You guys know we're here every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Buck, thanks for being here tonight. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure we get you back because I think we still got way more things to cover in here, and I think we'll do hopefully when we schedule you next time, we'll be able to do a little bit more promotion. I didn't get a lot of promotion on X and stuff done, which is why I think we had some limited people here tonight. But we'll promote the hell out of it and see if we can't get a bunch of questions from the chat for you. And I'm looking forward to what you got coming. Are you working with Piper on something to okay? He kind of teased that out there, so okay.
Not quite ready yet, but we're getting close. So what I was looking at is a way to get Bitcoin mining rewards into people's hands on a smaller, not smaller, but on a consumable level on a DCA type scenario, right? Where you don't have $5-10 grand to buy a piece of equipment, but you want to DCA $10 a week or $20 a week. How do we set that up to where it's a monthly standalone program to where you're not on the hook for a machine, but you're still getting Bitcoin below what the market value is for the Bitcoin if you're buying spot? I'm a big DCA guy. I love Piper's DCA plan. Like we spent, I don't know, probably 2 days on the phone because like when he first came up with it and he was showing me what he wanted to do. This was, I don't know, a while back, and he was going through it. I'm like, I'm not buying it. I don't like it. That seems gay. I'm not playing this. And then the more we dug into it, I was like, oh, I actually really do like this. This is a great idea, man. So like, and the more he showed it to me, I was like, oh, I love this. So I actually use that program with my mining reward stuff. So when I'm going to peel off the top, it's because we've hit that upper wristband. And I'm like, cool, I'm peeling off the top. And now that money goes in the bank account and it sits there ready to pay electricity bills when it's time to go.
Yeah, no facts. I'm with you. My goodness, sorry guys. On Crypto on the Rocks, I show people DCA $25 a week. That's all you need. $25. You know, throw 15. What I do is I throw 15 into Bitcoin, and then I give the guys on the show the option to vote for an altcoin that I'll DCA into. So, but since Piper, I understood the Piper plan. I'm with you. That's what I'm doing the same thing. There is merit to it.
It's all about time in the market, right? You keep buying. And because of the volatility, you're going to get that exposure to the highs, the lows. Like, why not, right? Like, use those wristbands.
Exactly. All right, everybody. That's it. We are going to wrap. But listen, we got BC put together a new song. I put it in with our dancing fellows. So that's going to be our outro tonight. So enjoy that. And we'll see you again next week on the line, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Buck, again, thanks. Appreciate you being here. And hopefully you'll be back again soon.
Yes, thanks, Buck. It was nice meeting you.
You too, man.
All right. See you guys later. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you again.
Yeah, fingers frozen, call it ice on my grip. Wallet getting heavy, yeah, it's making me trip. Charts doing backflips, but I'm steady, don't slip. Never fold, got a diamond script, no eclipse. Wolves in the market, they circle and pray. I'm a bull on parade, charging every payday. Paper hands crumble, they just fade away. I'm stacking sats, building castles where I stay. Diamond hands, I ain't letting it go. Stacking up, yeah, I'm watching it grow. Riding waves, yeah, I'm surfing the flow. Up and down, but my faith never low. Diamond hands, yeah, they gleam and they shine.